Hey, what is up, guys? It is Metagames GX here, and we are going to be going over my new updated branded Despia deck profile for the post-ban list format. Of course, we just got branded Fusion back to 2 legal copies, so we will be going over how that changes pure branded Despia. I know I've been the branded Draco Tal variant. I know not everyone loves that variant. It is a very strong variant, but we just saw with Annie on the first place deck profile from last week, where she dominated a regional with Worlds winners in there with branded Despia 7-0. It still shows that this deck still kicks ass. And so, guys, if you want to see more content like this, make sure you're subscribed today. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. And then also, if this video gets to 150 likes, we will do an updated branded Despia combo guide. And then also comment down below, let me know what your favorite part and card of this deck profile was, and if you're running branded Despia or the Draco Tal variant. Now let's get right into it. Of course, we are running the 3 Fallen of Albaz because this is quite good now with the pure variant. I don't think you want to be really on 2 for the pure variant. You can, but of course this might just cut off your grind game. I don't want to do that unnecessarily. I don't have the Draco Tal cards to back me up for that. We do have 2 Cartesia. It's also a great board breaker, this format, because you can just force a lot of the interruptions on your opponent's board with this, even with Yummy. So I feel like this is just a fine card into Yummy. We're on 2 Cartesia. This is super standard for the, branded Despia variant. We are on 3. It's just great to dodge Imperm with, and then also extend into your combo line. I'm also on 3 Aluber, and then 2 Quem. Quem being at 2 is definitely one of those luxuries that you get playing the pure variant, because it just makes sense, right? I'm running double Guignol in my build, which is slightly unique for all the lists coming out, but I do think that it allows me to always have a Quem in rotation, and it makes branded and high spirits way better, because then I can just like send Quem, have another one in my deck, send Guignol, and then summon out the Quertus in the grind game or the second Quem. So it's very convenient for that, and I'm pretty in love with these ratios. I will say 2 Albaz can sometimes be bricky, but it's not as big of a problem as you'd think in this kind of version. And then 1 Kit, of course, we do have the 2 branded Fusion, but the thing is that we still want to have access to good branded and high spirit lines, and that's what Kit does. So I would keep running Kit at 1 copy at least if you're running multiple copies of high spirits, because you can go Aluber, search high spirit, discard the dragon in your hand, and then you're able to of course send an Albion to the graveyard or a Titaniclad, and then insulate yourself through an Ash Blossom. And then also it's a board breaker into Yummy, so it's just it makes your options way better. But yes, the 2 branded Fusion makes the kit a little bit worse, but it's still great. And then 2 or 3 Shrouded Dragon just for consistency. We are on 3 High Spirits, so I think just maxing out on your dragons, like 3 Shrouded, 3 Saronir is very important, and then 1 Lubellion, and then 1 Magnemite. These cards are incredible, this upcoming format, because Mitsurugi is going to be one of the best decks, projected at least. Fiendsmith will still be in the format. Ryzeal will still be okay, and then also whether it is Yummy also just getting really nuked on the field spell target, a Yummy name with Saronir, it's very good for that regard. So I think having these names are quite good, and then also helps out your high spirits. I think if you're running 3 high spirits, you have to run 3 Saronir in general, and the Bystials are projected to be pretty good this format, so I think that maxing out on those ones are pretty good. No Druid Swarm I don't think is necessary. 1 Despian Tragedy, and then 1 Mercurier. I think that these cards are also just required bricks in this deck, just great for the grind game as a second branded like retribution essentially in the graveyard. And then Mercurier is just your best interruption off a branded loss. A lot of the time it's also makes your Gold Sark very live. And then 3 Fuelos. I'm still running Fuelos in this version. It's just a really strong card in order to really just prevent your opponent from playing. We aren't running the Femina in this build, so and I'm not choosing. I could run Book of Eclipse or something. I want to run Thrust. I want to run Fulos. I want to run Super Poly. So I think they're the 3 best like non-engine in the game for branded. So I'm not going to be siding this in this build at least. I don't really have the Draco Tal cards to really kind of weigh that kind of strategy down. And then 1 Ido, we are choosing to lock, of course. Oh no. VS is dead though, but Draco Tal is going to be one of the best decks as it's projected, and it's hilarious. I went on DB today and I saw a branded player play against Draco Tal, and they lost the second they went first against Draco Tal, and they didn't have a lock. So it happens, but this prevents us from losing against Draco Tal with go when you go first essentially. So I think this card is quite necessary for this format into Draco Tal, or else you're just gonna have a bad time against that deck. Of course, you can set up other things, but I think that that card is just incredible into Draco Tal. And then three branded opening, and then three branded high spirits. It's funny because I saw a Draco Tal content creator upload like, why is Branded getting this card unbanned? It's just an Ido with his full hand of Draco Tal cards, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly why we run it against you guys. So yeah, three high spirits, one brand white. Well, we really run it. It's really for the Fulos lines as well, and then two branded and Branded Fusion. Of course, Branded Fusion going to two was just a godsend. It felt like my birthday, honestly. I was happy the whole day. It was incredible. I'm feeling still euphoric from it. I do think that Branded Fusion really does change the game for Branded in general, because it allows you to go second better. I actually made a whole video on this. Go check it out if you haven't already, linked down in the description. But overall, TLDR, it's one of those cards that's going to help you go second better, because you can just open Branded Fusion and then just like do these cards to get to like, red or lost, and then white, and then you can start breaking your board through these cards, and then just have the Branded Fusion in your pocket that your opponent doesn't really know of. It's just like you will know playing Branded now, like your hands where you open Branded Fusion are so much better than your hands that you don't. So the fact we get another one, that's why we're running 50 as well, for consistency, and then just open Branded Fusion. You could go to 45, but I feel like I lose some of my gas going to 45 in this kind of particular variant, so I am pretty happy with that lineup. I do like the Brandon White still. It's just great for the grind game. And then one Foolish Burial, one Gold Sark, just for really good consistency cards. Just like some of your best one-card starters in the whole deck. I think that, just having just more one-card starters is always a very good thing with Brandon, especially at 50 cards, so you just don't brick as often. And then also, this can get your Tragedy into rotation, Sun and Ido. Foolish is just super malleable. You guys know these are just some of the best one-card starters in the deck. Yeah, Droll's going to be in the format, but you can play around Droll with Branded Opening and Branded High Spirits or Triple Tactics Thrust very easily. So, and then we run the 3 Thrust with 1 Talents, 1 Called By. I just think these cards are way too broken not to run, and then 3 Super Poly, because this card's just always alive between the Draco Tal cards, or, if K9's still going to be around, it'll be very good, but it was always very good because of Fulos and Ash Blossom 2, and then 3 Super Poly. It's just best into a really generic format like this, where it's going to be pretty wide open. And there's going to be a lot of different decks. So I think Super Poly is just like the one-stop shop. I could be running Dark Ruler, but without VSK9 end boards being as fuck you as they were, I think Super Poly like this is fine, but we might have to revisit Fusion deployment of VSK9 comes back into the meta. So, but I think Super Poly is never bad and Branded, right? I'm choosing to run the Fulos as my third pair of non-engine, and then of course 3 Fusion deployment, and then one Fusion duplication, then 1 Branded Retribution for the last Branded Spell or Trap card. And that's a pretty standard lineup. I like maining the Fusion duplication because I am running the Thrust, so that's why I'm doing that. And then I think Called By is just like an incredible board breaker this format. Into Yummy, you just banish the Herald, because now that Yummy only has 1 Herald, your whole issue with the deck is basically solved. I think Herald was really the only card that you care about against Yummy, and once you like clear their Herald, then your Thrust is live, and then you get to just break their whole board, right? So I think that Called By is just great going second this format. It's great going first this format. So I think it's just very solid piece of engine. And then of course we're running Talents to break the board. I think Talents to non-target take is just way too good. And Branded Retribution, try to set this up on your end board as much as you can. That's why I'm also running the kit, so I can set this up against Draco Tal, very good against their Brahu. Of course they can be activated again, but it at least gets a card. It's an interruption, right? It's one of your only ways to stop the Retribution besides the lock. So yeah. And then here's the extra deck. We have 2 Mirror Jade. Shout out to Mirror Jade. I hope we get kind of an alt art so I can get the other Starlight. So that's why I'm refraining on getting my second Starlight. But yeah, I think running 2 in this version is definitely the play, because you just want it for the grind game. So having the 2 Mirror Jade, one is a board breaker, right? You make the first one off of like your Albaz, and then you can crash it, and then you can break their board, because its effect in the end phase gets to wipe your opponent's board, obviously. So one of the concepts that like newer branded players kind of struggle with a lot of the time, from what I've seen from teaching, is just using the Mirror Jade as a board breaker in that respect, because and it goes so much easier when you have the double Mirror Jade, because then you can just freely crash the first one, and then you can just make the second in the end phase with like the Titan Clad on your opponent's turn, so you can just break the board multiple times with just Mirror Jade. So just having the two is incredible. It's your best boss monster. It's so incredible. Like against VS, if they have a quick effect, you can go player priority, Mirror Jade, banish their card, and then they're forced to use like the Holly Sue or something like that. Unless they, or you force them to use their effect, and then you can just banish on when that happens. So your opponent really has to know how player priority chain works and how important it is against Mirror Jade to even interact well into this card, and they have to have the cards with the quick effects in order to do that. It's just such a hard card for people to get over. And then 2 Albion, 1 Lubellion for the Fusion Dragons, and then 1 Sanctifier, 1 Titan-clad, 1 Rinbrum. Very standard. I mean, Sanctifier is your best Fuwalos line. Of course, you can just Fuwalos by making Albion send the Bestial Lubellion, but I do think that, and then not use Albion effect, so that is always an option. 2, but I do think that when you have any other extender, making the Sanctifier is actually just better than that line, because then you can lock them and then make Mirror Jade anyway. So that's why I typically make, if I have like Cartesia in rotation or not, and if I only have Branded Fusion, I'll go into the Albion line, and then 2 Grand Guignol for the, of course, locking, and then also Grind Game. It's just pretty nice. Since we are running 3 High Spirits, I don't like running 1 Guignol with 3 High Spirits, because then I just like start missing my Guignols, because I have to use High Spirits sometimes to pitch my spellcasters, so and then I won't have the actual Guignol to resolve anymore, because I can't spin it back unless I spin it back with Lubellion, and then kill my grind game there. So just running the 2 is just good even without the lock, but I think you do need the 2 for certain lock lines. And then 1 Despian Quertus, 1 Borreload, 1 Chaos, 1 Stapelia, and then 1 Mud Dragon. So Mud Dragon's obviously the super poly target here. You can also make this with Albaz against certain decks, so it's not bad for that reason as an Albaz target. But then also Stapelia. God, I miss Stapelia. This card is one of the reasons why you want to run Branded Despia in general, because you can run more targets, right? You can run Stapelia, you can run the second Mirror Jade, you can run the second Guignol, right, instead of running the Dracotal cards, and then you can just grind a lot better. This is also just a super poly target, right? I'm choosing not to run the Proskinion. I just don't think Proskinion is exactly that needed. But with Mitsurugi becoming kind of a thing, I'm thinking I'm going to want to start either a Borreload Furious Dragon, because it also covers the Lunalight matchup, and then also a Garura. So, but I think Mud Dragon's still the best thing into Yummy, and then it's okay against the other top decks. It's very good. It's okay into Dracotal. It's pretty good into VS. So I think that this card is just solid as a super poly target. I just would prefer to run this over not running the super poly targets. Like, I know Annie didn't run the super poly targets, and that's the thing about Branded that I've always said, that again, newer Branded players don't really tend to understand at first, is that your whole extra deck are super poly targets. So you know, any Albaz plus super poly equals a lot of these guys, right? Or like Cartesia, or like, you know, Quertus is a great way if you have a Luber, normal summon a Luber, and then they Valor you, and then you can change super poly to then get the search of Branded Fusion, then you get Quertus on board, and then you can attack over the Herald, right? So it's just like, I think you need to run Quertus when you're running super poly, and Borreload is just my preference as my, like, you know, Stapelia, Borreload, Mirror Jade, just great way to grind game. Even if they out my lock, I'm always going to have like options to like double Mirror Jade, Mercurier, and then just like Chaos Star Source. So I never tunnel vision yourself with the lock, in my opinion. If you tunnel vision yourself with the lock, you shouldn't play the lock. The lock is so dangerous when you know to layer it very well on top of your board that's already very good, because then if they out your lock, they can't play through the other stuff that you have, because they used their best card to out your lock. So that's why I love it. And then we're going to go into the side deck super quickly. I did forget the side deck in the last video, but it's basically the same, actually. Also, shout out to the Branded Fusion sleeves I bought off of eBay, and also the Branded mat. Shout out to Mario. 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Evenly, 1 Harpies, 2 Fusion Duplication, 3 Nadir, and then 3 Perulia for the rest of the side deck cards. So basically, you're going first sides are 3 Fusion Dupe, or 2 Fusion Dupe plus 3 Nadir. You can side out your 3 Fuelos plus 2 Super Poly, or depending on what you want to side out anyway for these guys. They're just great ways to play through hand traps. Yes, we are not running the Maximus. You don't need to run Maximus with Nadir. You can just search out Albaz or Quem, and then normal summon Quem, send Albion, right? And that's your full combo right there. And if you already normaled, okay, great. You sent an Albion, which gets you to Brandon and red, so, or whatever, a Titan Clad, and it gives you something, right? Through a hand trap, that's the whole point. And then Fusion Dupe, just because this card's your best going first side, in my opinion, when you're running the lock, because then you just, like, make Lubellion send Ido. It's just really disgusting interaction, this card, going first with Ido lock, so it's just, like, free wins, basically. And then evenly three Dark Ruler. Yeah, no, these cards are just, like, some of the best board breakers, and I think evenly gets a little bit worse now that VSK9 is worse, but I still think it's just, these two are, like, such a deadly pairing together and will break most boards. That'll be fine. And then Feather Duster just to have there, essentially, as another board breaker, just for spells and traps. And then 3 Perulia. Now, this Feather Duster could be a Garura, I think. I think this could very easily be a Garura, so pay attention to that. And then, you know, depending on what your meta is. I've also debated on running Lancia for Lunalight, because Lunalight is your worst matchup. You basically just lose that matchup if you don't see 2 Bestials, and you lose die roll, so that's kind of what it is. But I don't see enough Lunalight, and you avoid Lunalight by winning your first few rounds most of the time, because that deck always bricks at some point and will be like X1. I know Branded also bricks, but just gotta be better. So that's just kind of my strategy there. I also mentioned the Starving Venom, so that's something you could consider too. Appreciate you guys watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. And then also click the join button to get into my members only classroom, where you get my early deck list. You can also get my members exclusive videos, and you get in on all my giveaways for the month. And this month we're giving away a ultimate rare branded fusion, so make sure you are a member or you use your Twitch Prime sub, or get a regular Twitch sub. It is also September, so go over there and do that stuff. And then also, I would appreciate if you guys went to my website and checked out the merch over there. I have a bunch of great shirts, and then also you can pick up my branded spreadsheet, which also has a bunch of Dracotel combos. It has 100 plus combos that get updated every month, so I do appreciate that for you guys' continued support. If you guys want to help support me, that's a great way to do that, and then also get a bunch of great stuff out of it, so I do appreciate it. Have a great day, guys. Love you guys. Stay safe. Bye now.